Alright, what is up guys? Welcome back. This is the final portion of the playthrough. Gonna go ahead and jump right in. Again, this is Alkaiser Senpai's playthrough from one of the public tests of Act 1. I think he has some playtime in Act 2. This video is going to be a little bit longer than the other ones because we've got just about 39 minutes left on the playtime, so may run slightly over 30 minutes. Like I've been discussing, just defense is much more important early in the game than PoE 1. I would say looks very similar to Diablo 2 in terms of, like, if you build glass cannon as a melee, you're gonna have a bad time, like in Act 1 when you get towards the end towards the end of Act 1, which I think he is closing in on the Act boss. I'm assuming, based off the quest log on the right, that the Iron Count is the Act 1 boss. The name sounds kind of like a final Act boss, and just it being on the quest log, that's what I'm assuming here. So curious to see what an Act boss looks like, because all the other bosses have so far looked fantastic, looked amazing. So ready to kind of see what that looks like in PoE 2. I don't know if we've really seen, you know, in the promotional material that has been officially posted so far, I don't know if they've really shown an Act boss yet, or if the bosses they've shown were just like side bosses, like mini bosses. That dude reminds me of like the Carvers in Act 2, just like a short little demon looking dude with like a knife that's kind of chasing you down. There's a lot of this like red sort of corruption stuff. Those red dudes that explode, they also remind me of the mobs from the Worldstone Keep in Diablo 2. I forget what they're called, like, but they're just like Bale's sort of foot soldiers, and then some of them are like corrupted. Whoa, those guys are pretty fast. There's just been a lot of monster variety in Act 1, like a surprising amount of monster variety. I don't think I've seen really any monsters repeated like throughout multiple zones. It seems like, oh dang, it seems like they are so far. Each zone has like its own kind of unique monster set. We got some like demon dogs here too. Some like possessed witches, some sort of like corrupted, possessed looking spearmen with like a charge attack. Just a lot of monster variety. They seem threatening and dangerous. Even in Act 1, like, most of the monsters are quick. They seem to be faster than the player, like, on average so far. At least the melee mobs. So kiting as a ranged character may also be more of a challenge than in like PoE 1 or even possibly like Diablo 2. So that will be interesting to see. And then some of these guys, like, it looks like these guys have like a ranged attack. That looks similar to those one enemies in PoE 1 that have that underground attack in the area just before Malachi, like in the bowels of the beast or whatever it is. But they're like an armored variant. Looks like we're traveling down. So I'm assuming that's the boss there on that throne. That's probably the Iron Count. But yeah, like a lot of these monsters have a sort of like a ranged version of their attack. So like you can't just stay out of melee range and like not get hit, or possibly, like, you know, if they get 2 rows deep, like the first row can hit you, but the second and third row can probably still hit you as well. Yeah, I mean, he's getting stunned now just from, like, the little imps attacks. Oh, those come in quick.
You'll see. I need more time.
Alright, so where are we? He's trying to find his way to the Iron Count. Seems like he's kind of gotten lost in the map somehow, or backtracked for some reason, or maybe he died, actually. I was looking away for a second there, trying to make some trades in a fantasy football league. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of sad. Like, he's got to try and kite as a melee character. Like, just build some defense, dude. Okay, so we got the Count's Journal. Okay, so I feel like there's a hidden area or something that he's missing. Like, probably if he read that journal, it would tell him where there's like a secret passage. If I had to guess. I'm guessing it's like in that top left corner of the map. Alright, so it looks like we finally made it to the next part of the map, and dude's still struggling. I wish I could tell what that shout skill did. I don't really see any like buff status effects. Man, it's just almost getting one shot every time. I feel like the double slam attack would be a much better option to be using when anything is like in close proximity. It just goes off a lot quicker than these other attacks. Like, I would be using it right here all day. I would probably only use Sunder if they were at a distance, and maybe like, I don't even think I'd be using that Earthquake skill at all right now because it has way too long of a lag time.
This one will do. I can feel its essence. Feed it now. Just wait.
This interloper has the power we need. Kill him, and you shall have everything I promise.
Alright, so boss fight.
I'll remove your head myself.
Alright, so this is the Iron Count.
For the first ones.
Doesn't really seem like an act boss to me, though.
Run, little rabbit. No escape. Great wolf, take you. I need more time.
Oh man, he's got to retreat just because of how
Forced
squishy
to
he
go
is.
rogue.
Oh,
Hunted
bad
from
time for a
within.
commercial.
This is Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Pre-order now.
Rated M for mature.
You manipulative whore! How dare you abandon me after all I've given you! Torn to shreds! You'll see!
Oh, okay, so alright, so now we've got like a transformation. This looks a little more like what I would think an act boss might be.
Just wait!
He is doing like a lot of damage to the bosses. They do such a good job of telegraphing attacks on boss fights here.
First ones, hear me! Feast upon this tyrant's soul!
Speak to the hooded one. I wonder who is the hooded one. Like,
Make haste.
You've done.
I wonder if the identity of that character matters, or like, will it be revealed, or are they just like the hooded one?
It seems shadows don't as
How can I be of aid?
A culture of warriors. Must be
Alright,
tough
so it
to
looks
survive
like
here.
this is Act 2, so that was the Act 1 boss.
Just wait.
Act 2, the sands here kind of remind me of like the Elden Ring zone with the like the red sand. Oh my gosh, dude. Really need some defense. Just got perma stun locked there. So we've got some like friendly NPCs here. I do like the look of the armor in this game. And once again, we've got a whole lot of new, unique-looking enemies.
You'll see.
Let's see, we've got about another, like, 12 minutes of this Act 2 gameplay here.
Just wait.
Curious to see, like, I really want to see more bosses. Oh man, he's almost level 20. So it looks like by the time we finish Act 1, we're approaching like the high teens. High teens, like almost 20 when we finish Act 1 and get to Act 2. I do wonder how much of that, like, because in PoE 1, like when the game was first released, there was like multiple difficulties, and so you replayed the same content, like much like Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. And they've redone sort of the level scaling multiple times for when they've added in acts, and then when they changed it from multiple difficulties just to being like a 10-act game. So I do wonder, like, if they will change the level scaling at some point, because I'm not entirely sure. I've heard, like, at first they were saying the whole game was coming out, and then lately I've also heard just like the first 3 acts are coming out, which, I mean, I could kind of see them holding some content back so that they could quickly, like, you know, give us the first 3 acts and then let us play through that, and then after a couple months roll out like Act 4, and roll out after that, like, roll out the next act. I do wonder total how many acts there will be. Like, is it going to be a 10-act total again, like PoE 1? In PoE 1, like, some of the final acts were like a little rushed. It did kind of almost feel like they were just like, hey, we want to have 10 acts, and then in order to make the deadline, and also in like Diablo 2, they do speed up like the final act. Like, there's definitely not as many zones, and they said that that was like intentional, so it's possible that it was done intentionally by GGG, that the later acts were sped up a little bit. Some of the acts I do enjoy much more than others, like the one act with Avarius. was not my favorite act, to put it the least. So he's still got quite a few like white items, even getting into Act 2. So I don't know if I've seen any rare items drop yet. I think that would be a very welcome change to the game if that kind of holds true through a majority of, like, you know, if we're only finding a rare item. Like, I think he's found like 2 or 3 Alk orbs, so I think his rares right now are just items that he's used Alk orbs on. And if we're finding a whole lot less like rare and magic items, that is going to make actually utilizing the crafting system much more impactful and relevant. I'm guessing we've got like another boss fight here. Looked like those wolves were like kind of worshipping the alpha. Looks like there's like something up on the hill there. Okay, so I'm assuming that Rathbreaker is up on that hill. I kind of thought it was gonna come like jumping down at him though. Okay, so here's Rathbreaker. Seems like, oh, these archers are like wrecking him. Okay, so Earthquake seems like it might be useful against like bosses when you're super squishy. And you can't like actually unleash your attacks and hit them. Alright, he got like a little ignite. Oh man, he's in trouble now. His build cannot handle like this kind of monster density.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance and I saved hundreds. With all the money I saved, thought I'd buy stilts. Hi, honey.
Oh, he ran outside the zone. I was just wondering that if the boss would reset if you ran far enough away. I do like that they've added animations to each boss for when they're stunned, so you visually see. Oh dang! All right, you visually get to see when the boss is like down, versus just like a little squiggly circle on the top of their head. So, I mean, basically he's having to kite the boss with like Earthquake at the moment because he is so squishy. That's like the only thing keeping him alive. I think he's finally realizing he's got to utilize this combat rule. Oh man, he's gonna run out of the spawn area again. I think. Oh, he kind of got lucky there that killed him. I think otherwise the boss was gonna reset again. All right, I think. Oh, so we finally get to see a Chaos Orb drop. That's the first Chaos. And removes a random modifier. Wait. Is that different? I think they changed the Chaos Orb, boys. Removes a random modifier and augments a rare item with a new random modifier. Okay, so Chaos Orb is very different now than it used to be. Before it completely re-rolled the item, now it's kind of like I forget the currency in PoE1 that does this now, but there is one that like removes. It's almost like a combination of an orb of annulment and an exalted orb. That's very interesting. I'm not sure if that's like a buff or a nerf to the Chaos Orb, but I guess time will tell.
They are nomads, much like my
The beast is
Oh, I forgot this is the act where the town is like
Who goes there?
a mobile fortress on wheels, like Mad Max style. So I think we will continue, I guess, watching just to see what other new information we can learn. So the items are starting to get relatively expensive gold-wise. Like he could only purchase around like
You will be remembered.
5 items total at the moment.
Do not wander. Jingok. Need weapons? I am a Sala.
Alright, so we're getting to some of these higher tier abilities now. So it's good. It's kind of interesting to see. Let's go back and just kind of re-look at that because I think I missed some of it. So we almost have unlocked all the abilities and we're only in Act 2. So Seismic Cry. So there are still exerted attacks, which is good to know. Looks like it only exerts 1 attack. But whether or not that increases based off level is... Okay, so there's a stun build-up stat now. That must be... I don't know if that's on all enemies or just on bosses. But interesting change to the stun mechanic. Ignores physical damage reduction. It actually deals damage and knocks enemies back. That's pretty solid.
Why have we stopped?
What did that tooltip say? Many unique bosses can add permanent buffs?
What could they need so much metal for? You could outfit an army with a mine of this scale.
Alright, how did I miss that? Many unique bosses grant permanent buffs for defeating them. Okay, that's good to know.
You'll see.
Oh, that enemy's got a big old rock. Wicker Tiara, is that an amulet? Oh, it's a helmet. So he still looks like... Let's take a look at the gear screen here real quick. Dang it, it's not... Okay. So he only has one ring, and I think he found that very recently. So still no amulet, no ring, no second ring in Act 2. A lot of white gear. I've only seen... So far in Act 2, there's been 2 rares that have dropped. But I don't think I saw any rares drop in Act 1. He used a couple alchemy orbs to get, like, to upgrade a weapon to a rare weapon.
Just wait.
Oh, they've dropped the rock on him. That's like a wheel. Okay, so they hit you with it, and then it stays in the ground. I wonder, is there not a leap slam? They're not really very, like, many mobility skills. I don't feel like I've seen, like, the mobility skills. Wonder if that was, like, an intentional... Let's rewind real quick and look at that gem cutting screen. I am now genuinely curious. Oh, okay, I saw a leap slam on the next tier, so it must come a little bit later. Strongly disagree. So, okay, so we do get leap slam, supercharged slam. Okay, I wonder if that's the one with the giant, like, rock that collects on your hammer and then drops. So we do get leap slam.
Just wait. I need more time.
Okay, so he finally has access to... I wonder what resonating shield is, and what the exclamation mark means. Does that mean you don't have the right weapon type, possibly? Like you need a sword and shield, or a one-hander and a shield or something? Curious to see Leap Slam, though. Oh, yeah. Now we're cooking. Oh, yeah. I mean, I like the impact. It does have a lot of hang time, though. I wonder if you are, you know, vulnerable to damage while you are in the air. Alright. More two-handed damage nodes. I mean, I guess this is kind of working for him now. Now that he doesn't have to actually, like, walk up to the enemies. It's definitely, Leap Slam has been a huge boon for him, for his, like, max damage build. Although I also feel like part of it, too, is that it's like the difficulty kind of went down a little bit since that last boss encounter. It definitely was much more difficult, I think, towards the end of Act 1. There was a lot more speedy, dangerous mobs. Now everything seems to be a little bit slower, and like more manageable in terms of like slower attack speed, slower movement speed. That allows him to get off his like sunders really without like risk.
The miners. What happened here?
He's still taking a lot of damage. Uh-oh. Oh, man. So you are vulnerable while you are in the air. Confirmed. Wait. Was those, like, the rock dudes? Like, you see those, like, I don't see any here now. Like, you know the rock dudes that are, like, look like terrain until you get close to them? There was a couple blue-looking rocks back there in two different areas, and I couldn't tell if it was like sunlight shining through the cave or if it was rock dudes. Or maybe it's just these, like, maybe it's like jewel or you know, crystals or something. Yep, any damage, it seems like, interrupts your teleport. So... Oh, is it like slaves that are pulling the cart? I assumed it was animals. Let's go. Let's rewind here, fam. Okay, so it's right after this. But definitely, definitely did not look. Yeah, this definitely. All right. Yeah. All right. So we've definitely got some like some slaves or something here pulling this giant cart with dudes on horses like or on roas whipping them. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised they put that in the game with like the current political climate, but you do you, GGG. Oh wait, did he have negative 10? Sorry, let's go back here. Can I... Oh, no. I want to fast forward, like... on your phone, when you double tap, you can, like, go forward 10 seconds. I just wanted to see when he opened up his character sheet there. It looked like he had negative 10, like, chaos resist, so maybe your resist just sort of slowly goes... Okay. So... It looks like progressing from Act 1 to Act 2 does give you some negative resist. Because remember, he got a 10. He got a passive 10% cold resist from a boss in Act 1. And now it is 0. So I am assuming, based off this math and my calculations, that potentially each act gives you negative 10 resist. Which... that's not necessarily a bad way to do it, because it does sort of coax the player into, okay, so I can finally see how much life he has. So he only has 354 life. So when you are level 20, I would say you're probably going to want closer to 1,000 if you're playing a melee build. And then once again, this spirit, it has to do with your reservation. So you have a separate reservation bar here. And the Herald of Ash takes 100 spirit, just to put kind of that in perspective. So yet to see anything else so far that has reservation. I'm kind of surprised Herald of Ash like takes all of your reservation. So I'm not sure if that means like we'll really be limited to maybe like 1 or 2 reservation skills, or if like you're very heavily invested into it, maybe you could pick up like 3 or 4. I don't think it's a bad change. I think it will encourage like group play, because most people like stack auras and then play solo, and the whole point of auras is to like buff your party and not just be like a self buff. So might not be a bad change. But anyways, what was I? Oh yeah, so not a bad thing to do it sort of like progressively as you work your way through the game, because it will encourage the player to factor this into their build and their gearing choices, instead of just hitting them with like negative 60 resist or something all at once. And then especially if you're a new player and you don't know that's coming, or you're not expecting that, like let's just say this is your first ARPG, you're making your way through the game, and then you kill like Kitava Act 5, and now you get hit with all these negative resists, and you're like, oh my gosh, my build doesn't really work anymore. I'm just like dying so much, and how do you like realistically overcome that if you didn't know to prepare for it? Like your playthrough is suddenly going to hit like a brick wall, unless you either have like, I could see that making players quit potentially. Like if you're a new player and you're like having a good time, and then now all of a sudden, you're just constantly dying, and you may not. I mean, I guess I think there's like a prompt that tells you lost all this resist, but like if you're not expecting that, and then all of a sudden you kill like a boss, and you're like, oh yeah, like my build, it's good, it's feeling good. Like I just killed this giant boss. Like I'm a badass, And then you get to the next like Act 6, and you're back in, like the Twilight Strand, getting insta killed because you have like really low resists, kind of like this guy. I could see you being like, what happened? Like I was super strong. I just killed like basically what is the ultimate monster in this game, and now I'm getting killed by like trash mobs. So it looks like we're coming up on, that is the end of the playthrough here, guys. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. If you are pumped up about PoE 2, please hit that subscribe button. We'll be putting out a lot more PoE 2 content. Really appreciate it. And remember to give them the D.